All right, folks, good evening. My name is Heather Nickerson. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Artifacts. And tonight we are kicking off our fifth series of Evenings with Artifacts. And we're delighted to have you join us tonight. We have, for those of you who've seen previous episodes of Evenings with Artifacts, you will know that we typically have guest speakers, and we always ask our audience members for their feedback after each and every session. And for over the past 2 years now, we've gotten feedback again and again about how our members want to see more interactive workshops, how they want to be able to follow along with us and hear some of the stories that go into creating artifacts. So this fall, we decided to launch Evenings with Artifacts to be based fully on interactive workshops. We're starting tonight with Decluttering Made Easy. And over the next 5 weeks, we're going to tackle such topics as sharing photos and stories, what to do with all those old photos. We'll tackle digital baby books and scrapbooks. We're going to tackle what to do with all that paper in a fun session titled Get Papered. And also we'll end the season dealing with legacy, how to create, build, and share your legacy your way with your stories. We will have featured guests joining us for some of the evenings, including Matt Paxton, who's one of our advisory board members. He'll be joining us for the last session, dealing with legacy. And we hope to have a lot of fun along the way. We have designed these sessions to be very interactive. So if you're following with us from home, you'll be able to follow along, make an artifact as we go. We also hope to have plenty of time for questions and answers. So please feel free to pop into chat any questions you have, or please feel free to use the Q&A function as well. To get started tonight, we are talking about decluttering. And we've titled the session Decluttering Made Easy, because we want to empower you to be able to use artifacts to keep the memories while you declutter some of that stuff. Tonight, we'll be referring back to our decluttering checklist. For those of you who are new to Artifacts, we have an entire series of checklists. I have popped the decluttering checklist into our chat feature, so you can download that yourself and follow along. I will also begin to share my screen in a moment so we can all be literally on the same page. So with that, I want to kick us off with, I think, what's going to be a really fun starting discussion. I'm going to share my screen, and I think we're going to see something we all probably recognize, which is what got us here in the first place on this topic. So let's talk about this, the reality today. Let me make it bigger. How many of you at home have something that looks like this? It may be a garage, it could be an attic, it could be a basement. How many of you have been in this position? Maybe you're the parent, maybe you're the child. Maybe you have all the stuff, maybe you're going to be inheriting the stuff. But the bottom line is there's a lot of stuff out there and a lot of stuff in our homes. The New York Times was able to quantify this and noted that in the next 3 to 5 years, the baby boomer generation is going to pass down $3 trillion worth of stuff to Gen X. Now, a member of Gen X, I'm sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, what are we going to do with this stuff? How do we keep the memory while maybe not keeping every last item in that garage or basement or attic or a spare bedroom that really isn't used as a spare bedroom? That's what we're going to be tackling tonight. How can we use artifacts to help you declutter with ease so that you can guilt-free rehome or recycle items that are taking up space in your house, sometimes much needed space. So I'm going to switch over to our website. We'll be using our website for tonight's interactive portion of the webinar. I also want to know everything we're going to see tonight on the website, you can do on the app. So we do have an app, Android and iOS. You can download the app. Everything you see we'll be doing, you can do on the app. The app also enables you to talk to text. You can also record video and audio directly in the app. But I will be using the website tonight just for ease of use in our workshop. So with that, I am going to share my screen again and bring up our website and get us started, get us talking about artifacts and about how do we declutter? How do we have fun as we go through this process together? Let me share my screen one more time and pop over here. And again, if you have any questions at any point, please feel free to pop them into chat. All right, here we are. Move this up. This is the worksheet, the Overwhelmed by Clutter that we were discussing earlier. I put the link in the chat so you can download your copy as well, or you can follow along on the website. We're going to be using this as kind of our cheat sheet, right? There's a lot of stuff that we all have, and sometimes we have emotional ties to it. We're afraid to let go of it. We're worried about letting go of it and losing the memory or losing the story or losing a piece of us. These are the items that can be the hardest to recycle or rehome, or even if they're broken or no longer useful, they've gone beyond their useful life, it's tough to get rid of them because they have the stories, they have the memories, they represent a moment of us in time. So we put together this checklist to help us with our decluttering progress. I'm going to go through, we can look at the checklist for a moment, and then I'm going to go through and share some of my personal artifacts that I have created using this checklist to give you a sense of how do we do this, and some of my own personal funny examples from this process. We're then going to go through creating an artifact together, and you can follow along at home and feel free to share in chat as you go through this process. Again, if you have questions or even what you're artifacting, or even what you're thinking about artifacting. So on our decluttering checklist, some of the top items are greeting cards. And this is a great example, right? They have that sentimental connection. We don't want to let go of the card for the handwriting or what's written inside of it or the fear that we're going to forget it. Same thing with letters, children's artwork, printed photos. How many of us have bins and bins of photos at home? I know I do. Simple things like baseball caps or t-shirts or even outgrown clothing. Sometimes old magazines or old newspapers, or travel trinkets or mementos that maybe have seen better days or could even possibly be broken. I'll share some of my artifacts and you'll see I have a broken or two travel trinket that I finally took my own advice and artifacted, allowing me to declutter it along the way. So this is the checklist we're going to be using tonight. Hopefully it's inspiration for you. You can find additional checklists when you are on our site. I'm going to go to our homepage right now, artifacts.com, and I'll show you. When you're on the homepage, under inspiration, you can find all of our checklists, including the decluttering one. So I have cheated. I am logged into Artifacts. I'm going to go to my favorites. And that's where we're going to start tonight. Start showing you some examples that I used the checklist declutter. And I see that we've got excellent. Mark, you're welcome for the link. Glad it helps. So using the checklist, I took a hard look at some of my stuff prior to this webinar tonight. And I found some gems that I really liked. Here is one. I had artifacted this. This is a silly one. During COVID, remember those days back when we were homeschooling, but also working from home? My daughter gave herself a snow day. Now, mind you, there was no actual snow day, but she took it upon herself to give her one. I did not save this Post-it note, but I did artifact it because to me it was a very funny and special moment, special memory I knew I'd want to remember years from now. And I want to remember for her because those COVID days passed in a blur. Another item that I artifacted from the checklist, we mentioned old t-shirts, right? How many of us have old concert t-shirts or sports t-shirts or jerseys? In this case, I had a t-shirt from Paris Fashion Week. And this was one that you can read in the story. It's one of my all-time favorite t-shirts. I've actually never worn it. I was so afraid of ruining it that, yep, I kept the t-shirt for 5+ years, never once wore it. My daughter saw this t-shirt and immediately claimed it for herself. I was afraid to let go of the t-shirt. Again, special memory, special moment, but I decided to artifact it and rehome it to her where she could lovingly wear it all the time. When I made the artifact, it's not just the photo of the t-shirt. I had the photo of my friend and I at Fashion Week at the event, and I included a video of the show that we saw at Fashion Week, of the models going down the runway. Again, part of this really special memory. So using the decluttering checklist, I went through and gave myself my own homework assignment. What could I declutter? I mentioned earlier about those travel mementos on the checklist. And here's a great example. I had these mugs from times spent over in Copenhagen with family, and I had two sets. One set was broken. One of the mugs was cracked, but I kept it because again, I was afraid to let go of it. It had this beautiful travel memory associated with it. So I took my own advice. I artifacted the mugs. I donated the one that wasn't broken, and then I recycled the one that was broken. But it saved up some much needed cabinet space for me, while still allowing me to preserve the memories and the history and the stories all here within the artifact. Another example, oops, I want to quickly show. Let's get back there. I did not mean to close that out. Here we go. Another example I wanted to show was we mentioned kid art. This is one where I think if you have kids at home, you probably have bins and bins of art. And we keep it because, again, that emotional attachment to it, right? They were so young. Remember when? Realistically, what are we going to do with that kid art? That's a question I find myself asking all the time because we live in a 2,000 square foot DC row house. There's only so much space and only so much can be occupied by art projects from years past. So in this instance, my daughter made a ceramic shark. It was really cute, not your traditional thing you make in ceramics like a vase or a bowl. It's a shark. What am I supposed to do with it? Together, we artifacted it. We took photos of it. I added a photo of her in her shark phase with the stuffed shark. And then I'll spare you, but then we sang the baby shark song, which at the time was a really big hit, if you want to call it that. But we added the audio to it. So we'd have that kind of sweet child voice singing the song, which again adds to the memory of why a ceramic shark in ceramics class. All right, that's a lot of kind of my show and tell of artifacts from the decluttering checklist. Let's dive in. You can also see some old photos, some cards, hotel souvenirs, travel souvenirs. How many of you probably share or keep pamphlets from hotels or museums you visited? I was very guilty of that until I started artifacting them. Old vintage recipes. Really, again, following the checklist, there's a lot of stuff here that I had held on to, I had kept. But with artifacts, I was able to artifact, keep the memory, and lose the object. So let's dive in now to creating an artifact. And I'm going to create one live as part of this webinar. And I invite you all to follow along at home. We'll take it step by step and show you all the features and show you how you put together the artifacts for that finished product. So right now I am on the website. I'm going to click the plus to add an artifact. I'll click a new artifact because we're going to make this from scratch together. And I am going to start. When you go to make an artifact, for those of you that are new, you can add up to 5 audio, video, or photo files. For ease of tonight's demonstration, I did group my media files together, but you could easily import them from your device or any of our custom-built integrations. If you're on the app, it's really simple. You can go through your photos, pick the photos you want, or video or audio, and send it directly into the Artifacts app. But I'm going to upload from my device. For this artifact, I am going to be artifacting my vintage Artifacts hat. It's the first piece of Artifacts gear my co-founder Ellen and I made prior to starting Artifacts. This hat has seen better days, really, really better days. And I won't show you the flip side of it, just how dirty it is, but it's one of my cherished items. And I was really concerned about letting go of this. I'd stopped wearing this a while ago because it has really seen better days. But I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose the memory. And now, of course, I can't find, let's cancel this. We're going to drag and drop the files into here because I can't. Let me find the photos. Sorry, folks. This is meant to be much easier. And I thought I put them in a special folder. But I didn't want to let go of the hat because of the memories, even though we got our brand new hats, which are much cleaner than my old vintage hat. Let me grab right here, media files. Here we go. I'm going to upload the photos, videos to my artifact. Here we go. And you'll see the little flipping tiles we get going. While those are uploading, I'm going to name it. I'm going to name it my Artifacts hat. And if you're following along at home, please grab an item from the decluttering checklist and create your artifact with us. And then we'd love to see those artifacts. Feel free to share them once you've created them. So Artifacts hat. Actually, maybe first Artifacts hat. What is it? So this is where in the categories, you can pick what the category is. You can pick one category, many categories. The choice is yours. I can, now that my hat is uploaded, I can add a caption to the image. I'm going to do the original artifact hat. Click save image. I could also crop or rotate it if I wanted to. My co-founder and I at Mass Challenge. Mass Challenge, proudly wearing our hats. Another photo at Rootstock with the hats on. So you can see these hats are very well traveled, well loved. And then we've got a couple of movies, which you'll see when I complete the artifact. So back to categories. What is it? In this case, I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go under life's moments. For me, it's a memorabilia. This is a really important piece of us founding the company and getting started as a business. I'm also going to pick down in textiles, clothing, apparel, hats, right there. So I've got two categories, memorabilia and apparel. Great. I can now add a story. So stories can be 5 words or they can be 5,000. The choice is yours. If you get stuck on what to write, we have a really great set of questions. Either you can use yourself, you can use as prompts with family members, or if you're helping clients artifact, it's a great way to ask those questions. Yes, so Mark had a question. I want to jump into chat. Mark had a question. Artifacts, yes, you can upload HEIC formats as well as JPEG, PNG, all of the files that we support are right down here in valid file formats. So you can see we do support a lot of different file formats. All right, so let's go with the story. And again, you can always go back and edit. For time's sake, I'm not going to write too long of a story, but this is our first Artifacts hat, worn proudly wherever we went. And we'll keep it short and sweet. I can also, with Artifacts, you can link artifacts to people or to other artifacts. So I'm going to say, so happy that my co-founder, I'm going to do @Ellen. And now I'm going to link this to my co-founder, Ellen, whose screen name is eGoody, designed these when we launched. Oops. Don't mind my typing. This is live. And now that I've linked this to Ellen, Ellen's going to get a copy of this artifact automatically. So I won't have to individually share with her, but by linking it to her, she'll get a copy of this artifact. I'm going to pick country of origin. They're proudly made in the USA. I'm going to say, nope, I don't want this to be a default because I do travel a lot. So I often have different countries in here for my artifacts. The field here in the future. This is an optional field, but we'd like to help you think about what happens next to all that stuff, right? And if you're decluttering stuff, since we're focusing tonight on decluttering, you can choose the too late. I already parted with it. Enjoy the memory. If you're artifacting things, though, that you want to keep in the family or bequeath or donate to charity, maybe you're decluttering, you want to donate it. That's great. You can choose donate and then name the organization. And it can help you organize all that stuff. Where is it going? What's happening to it next? So in this case, I will be recycling this hat after tonight because we now have our new hats. So I'm going to choose too late. Tags. This is one of my favorite fields, and I'll show you in the finished artifact what this looks like, but you can create any amount of custom tags you want. So we have one that's an artifacts tag. So we have right there for anything that we do on the professional level, my co-founder and I tag it to artifacts. I also, some of my favorite tags, not relevant to this artifact, but I have a tag for all of my daughter's artwork. And I have it, it's that's my girl. You can see if I type it in, that's my girl. That's the tag I use for all of her artwork. It allows me to easily sort and search in a heartbeat. If I have over 300 artifacts, I can click that tag, see all of her artwork. So for tonight's purposes, I've got my artifacts tag, I've got the too late in the future field, I've got a short story, categories, and I've named it. I'm in quick form. I could go to full form and add the date when we first got these hats and also occasion. So professional, I'm going to add this professional memento. It's our occasion. When acquired by you, it's going to be our launch date. I'm going to do 08/26/2021, our public launch date. And then I'm going down here, click save. I could also, if I wanted to, I could, of course, enter value, enter dimensions, current location. You see padlocks on these files. That means that these items are always private. Even if you privately share, they are not shared unless you give someone full control. So anyways, I'm going to quickly click save. And now you can see the finished artifact we just made. And hopefully I'm not going too fast for those of you following along at home. But you can always go back and edit. That's one of the beautiful things about artifacts is you can edit anytime, anything that you create. So while this is thinking, one moment, let me pop back in the chat. I see we've got a couple of more questions. Mark wants to know about PDF. Great, Mark, I will show you in a moment. We attach PDFs in the document field of the artifact. So you are able to attach PDFs to the, upload PDFs to the artifact, but it's typically in the documentation section. And I'll show you that in just 1 minute. Now that I've created the artifact, I can choose to share the artifact. If I made it public, if I toggle the switch, I could pop it into Facebook or LinkedIn. Say a lot of our family historians love to share into specific genealogy groups within Facebook or family history groups, sometimes even World War II or Vietnam War veteran groups. So people do make their artifacts public sometimes to share. You don't have to make your artifact public. In fact, by default, it's always private until you decide to share privately or publicly. So I'm going to keep this one private. I've already shared with Ellen, my co-founder, since I noted her screen name at Ellen, I tagged her. But say I also want to share with a couple of other friends. I'm going to pick at Matt here. I'm going to add a message. Remember when? And now right here, I'm going to show you. When you choose to share, you can give someone view access. You can make them editor, where they can add in details. You give them full control. They could add in or delete photos or video. They also in full control, remember, they have access to that padlock information. So they can see what the value is, the location of it, and then what you want to happen to it in the future. And there's also, of course, in remembrance. If you're making an artifact in remembrance, you'll have a little black band across the upper left-hand corner of the artifact, and it'll be sent to the individual you're making it in remembrance or in honor of them. So with that, I'm going to give Matt viewer access. I gave him a short note. I'm going to click share. And then say I'm done. All right. Great. And now I've got my latest artifact right here. First artifacts hat. I can click into the artifact and I can see the photos. I can also see the videos. So we did a first videos, our pre-launch video. This was really fun. All right. I'm going to close out of this for a moment and go back. Now that I have this, I want to rearrange the media. I want to go back in and edit because I want the hat to be the first photo. So I also wanted to show you all how to edit your artifacts. So here we go. I can go right here, make this the cover photo, and I can drag and drop it. So it comes up here. And now I'm going to click save. There we go. And now when I view the artifact, that's the cover photo. That's how you can rearrange the media files. Now I have it in the order that I want it in: the cover photo, the mass challenge photo, the roots tag, and then our 2 videos. I'm going to close. Actually, I do want to show you one other thing. So these are the categories we picked. You can quickly sort and search your artifacts via categories or also via the tags. We also have the details that we added to this artifact. Again, we can go back and edit anytime. You can download the artifact. When you choose to download it, you can download Excel spreadsheet, CSV, PDF, or a zip file. When you download a zip file, you're able to download the original audio, the video, the photos. At Artifacts, we do not compress your media files. So whatever you upload, if you upload high res, you download high res. Same thing with videos. We don't compress the video files. So unlike some of the other social platforms where you upload a video, you get back a teeny tiny thumbnail image, not the case with Artifacts. You get the original video that you uploaded to Artifacts. You also have QR codes. Since we're talking about decluttering, I'm not going to add a QR code to this artifact because I do intend to recycle it. But if I wasn't going to recycle the artifact, if I was going to keep it, I could print off a QR code or link it to our QR code stickers. And then you can link the physical with the digital item. I'm going to cancel that. All right, let me quickly show you what I mean by sorting and searching those artifacts. I'm going to click on memorabilia, and I'm going to see my other artifacts in the memorabilia category and the ones that have been shared with me. But this is how I can quickly sort and search through those different artifacts. I want to show you in my artifacts how you can see your artifacts in a timeline. So remember we added that date when we first acquired that artifacts hat. With my timeline view, I can go back in time and see my artifacts. And since that was 2021, we're going to scroll through here. There it is. There's the hat. August 26, 2021, along with the card that we got the day before we launched Artifacts, my co-founder and I. So there's a lot of details you can put into your artifacts as you go through and create them. I want to pop into chat and see. Excellent, some questions we've got. Great. So the first question is, do people you share something with have to have the app to view it? No, you do not have to have the app. When you share an artifact, you can share. Let me quickly pop into here and show you a good example. I'll pick one that I did end up recycling on the kid art side. This was a photo my daughter drew, or a picture my daughter drew. And then I linked it to the inspiration for the images of the Icelandic pony. When I went to share it, you can share. Again, they have view access. The individuals can either view the artifact in the app, or if they click the link, they can view it here on the website. You also do not have to have an account to view public artifacts. Since this artifact though is still private, you will need to have the individual who's viewing the artifact will need to have a free Artifacts account to view it. And we do this for privacy and security. We want to make sure that when you're sharing an artifact, we're able to verify that the individual you're sharing it with really is the intended recipient. We want to make sure, again, privacy and security are always first and foremost for us at Artifacts. So we do require individuals that you share a private artifact with to be able to have at least a free account to view the artifact, just to ensure that it's safely and securely shared that way. All right, I'm going to pop back in. I think we had a couple other questions. I want to make sure I get to those. Let's see what's up next. I'm going to stop sharing while we take some of the questions. If I download, do I get any of the metadata that's been added? Yes, when you download, you get the entire, everything you've added to the artifact, that's what you get. Actually, let me go back, share my screen, and show you what that download looks like. Let's do this. 1 second here. Let me show you what that download looks like. Let's pick a good one. Oops, here we go. I'm going to go with the Valentine's Day cards in Paris from our decluttering checklist. Remember, cards and letters. Let's pop into this one. I'm going to show you here. I've got a really sweet story about the cards. I've captured the handwriting inside, the sweet messages, the sentiments, and I'm able to declutter my giant collection of old greeting cards. So when I go to download this, I'm just going to pick PDF to show you what this looks like. I'm going to click download. Up pops the download. There we go. I will open it right here. And now you can see when you download in the PDF version, you have all the data right here. Same thing with Excel. And of course, with zip file, you get the same as well. You get all the data you put in. So I don't lose any of the details. I get the original tags. I also, with the PDF, I get originally created and when it was last edited. And then, of course, I have all the photos that was included with it. So some folks actually like to use the downloads as a way to kind of create a three-ring binder. If you like having that like hard physical copy, you can print off all your artifacts if you so choose to. Again, we're talking about decluttering with ease, so hopefully we're not adding to your clutter pile. But if you wanted to, you could download and print off your artifacts. It is a question we get asked a lot. Let me pop up to another question we've got here. Oh, I'm sorry, you cannot see the PDF. Oops, let me try this again. Let me share the entire screen. Here we go. And let's do the PDF this time. All right, thank you for letting me know that. All right, so here's the PDF with all the data you put into it, as well as the photos that were in the original artifact. And again, last edited and when originally created. So the PDF download really, it's actually my favorite way to download, unless I'm dealing with audio and video. And then I like downloading the zip file because again, you get everything in the original format. We don't compress audio or video files. So when you download them, you get everything the way it was when you uploaded it. I'm going to pop into, let's share another example. Right here, this is the one that had the video. If I want to download here, I choose zip and then I download the zip folder. And it's taking a moment to download because we do have the video. But then you can see right here that in downloads, I can open it up and I have, again, the original video, the original photos. I have everything right there exactly as I uploaded, and all the data comes out as an Excel spreadsheet. So everything you put into the artifact, you don't lose those details and the information. Sorry, we're being joined by my COVID puppy who's no longer a puppy. All right, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and take some more questions from you all. These questions are great. Thank you so much. We have another question. What happens when you are using artifacts to downsize and declutter? Are you able to share with more than one person? Yes. So if you are choosing to, we have a lot of folks who use artifacts when they're downsizing and they want to share with family members to kind of give them like, hey kids, or hey friends, does anyone want this? You're able to share with as many people as you want. For the purpose of tonight's demonstration, I just chose to share with one or two people. But you can on Artifacts create custom sharing lists and add dozens and dozens of people to your lists. You can also share it individually, one time, 10 times, 100 times. It's entirely up to you. But it makes it really easy that way to, again, keep the memories, maybe not keep all the stuff. We've got another question in here. How would you use the QR codes if you're decluttering? That's a great question, Matt. On the QR code, so some folks, especially if people working with professional organizers, or if you're a professional organizer or a move manager, or even a photo manager, when you're decluttering and organizing, sometimes you'll artifact the items that you aren't going to keep, like the ones on the decluttering checklist we went through. And then the ones that you are going to keep, maybe you're putting into a storage bin, or you're putting into, a great example are holiday decorations, right? You declutter, you keep the ones you're going to keep, and then you put the others away until the holiday comes back up again. You can use the QR codes to put on the outside of the bins. So that way you can easily know what decorations in that bin. Or if you have bins of children's artwork, what school year is that from? Is it kindergarten? Is it grade 5? But you can use the QR codes as a quick and easy way to scan and see what have you put away in storage? What is it? Without ever actually having to open it up. and go through everything. So that's some of the ways that organizers and professional room managers use the QR codes when decluttering or downsizing. Great. Thank you all for the questions. Another question we've got, are there any other items that you have found work great for decluttering? So I'm guessing this probably means other than what's on the checklist. We actually wrote an article, and I can pop the link into here into chat. And we called it the 15 decluttering targets. And that has some really interesting ones. One that always made me laugh are the old technology items, right? Old cameras, old iPods, old, you name it. We keep some of these things again for the memories. We're maybe afraid of letting go. But it's a really, it's a fun, there's a lot of, when you start, I think, thinking about decluttering and even organizing, there's a lot of things that may come to mind as maybe I don't need to keep this if I can keep the memory. I just popped that link in the chat into that article that lists some other decluttering targets. If you're going through the checklist, you got all the way through the checklist and you want other ideas, or some other ideas there. I did want to point out that again, Matt Paxton, he's on our advisory board. He has the book, Keep the Memories, Lose the Stuff. And one of our favorite quotes from here is something that he wrote, that if we don't know the stories behind the stuff, we'll never be able to freely let go of it. And that's really, I think, when you're talking about decluttering and downsizing, there is so much emotion involved with what we choose to keep. And sometimes what we're afraid to let go of, where if you take the time to tell the story in Artifacts, either in your voice, record an audio of you doing so, or type up the story, add details to it over time, and then you share it, I think you're respecting kind of the moment in time. You're respecting that piece of history, what made you you. And we found and we've heard from folks over the years that it's much easier to let go once you have the memory safely stored in Artifacts that you can view, you can share, you can go back to over and over again, even if you are going back to the actual item. And again, beloved hat. Cannot believe I'm artifacting it and going to recycle it. But I know the memory and the photos and the video and everything is safely stored. So I'm okay with letting go with it. I also happen to have the new hat. So I do need to make space. All right, we've got a couple of other questions in here. One is, how do the memberships work? Example, Artie Light for $45 a year for up to 30 artifacts. Can we add 30 each year with each membership renewal? Great question, Sylvia. So we have three levels of membership. The first is free. You can have 5 artifacts, totally free, no strings attached whatsoever. We don't even ask for credit card information. It's simply give it a try. Or as Matt Paxton likes to say, go artifact your legacy list. Pick your 5 items that tell your story and make those artifacts. That's 5 things that your family will now know about you that maybe they didn't know before. We then have 2 paid levels. The first is Artie Light, which is $45 a year for 30 artifacts. That's 30 artifacts total. So it's not 30 new artifacts every year. The next level is Artie Unlimited, which is as many artifacts as you want to make. You can keep adding to it year after year after year. That's $119 a year. But with that membership, you also get 4 accounts for that price. So think of it as 4 for the price of 1. I will note that, much to our very pleasant surprise, nearly 95% of our members do opt for the unlimited version because it enables them to just keep artifacting. Once you start going, I think a lot of folks realize that it becomes a bit of a habit. It's a great way to keep clutter under control. And it's also a great way to tell your story on your terms. And because it is 4 accounts, those accounts are separate, they aren't merged, but it's a great way to get your family involved, or maybe you want to artifact with your friends or college roommates or whatever it happens to be. But it's a really fun way to start telling your story, preserving it, sharing it on your terms, and also helping us all tackle the stuff that we've got, so we don't end up with those attics or garages or basements that are simply overflowing, no fault of our own. So we do have those 3 different free, light, and unlimited. And then we also, for those of you that may be professionals, organizers, downsizers, move managers, photo managers on the call tonight, we do have an entire program called Artifacts for Professionals. And that is a different part of our platform where it's a membership is $99 a year and enables you to artifact with and on behalf of your clients. So there's very many different ways we try to help you where you're at. And I will note we are proud partners with AARP, and we wanted to ensure Artifacts' price to be very affordable. That really anyone, anywhere can tell their story, can get help with downsizing, decluttering, organizing, legacy building, preserving, all of that, without price being the impediment, we hope. So with that, I want to see if we have any other questions. If not, I will pause for a moment, see what else comes in, but then we will conclude for the evening. So I want to thank you all again. I am going to pop sorry. I've got a request to pop back in the decluttering checklist for those that might have joined a little bit later. Let me quickly get that link again, pop that back in. All right, here's the decluttering checklist. And again, you can find all of our checklists online. They're free to download. We want to make it as a resource for everyone. And I will note, you can also, if we went a little too fast, we love feedback. So if the artifacting part was a little too fast tonight, please let us know. You can also watch the recordings on our YouTube channel. So you are able to go back and watch this, as well as our step-by-step tips on all of our different key features and kind of key things you can do with artifacts. Let me grab the link to our YouTube channel and you can go back and watch this. We will be posting this tomorrow morning for those that could not make it tonight. And also for those of you joining us that want to rewatch the how-to, here's our YouTube channel. Please feel free to let us know if you have any questions. And on that note, I will say thank you all for joining us tonight for our first of our 5-part series on how-to. Tonight was Decluttering Made Easy. Next week, we'll be tackling old photos. So how to share and preserve those stories and photos. Since we all know photos can't talk, we're going to have to do the talking for them. So thank you all. Please stay tuned for next week. We hope to have you join us then. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. You can always reach myself and my co-founder and our entire team at hello@artifacts.com. I'll pop that into the chat for you all. We do try to personally answer those emails. So please let us know. And if you've got suggestions for what you want to see covered next, we are all ears. Again, this interactive workshop series is really based on your feedback. We love hearing from our members. We love knowing what we can do to help you all. And hopefully tonight was fun, entertaining, and now you're all armed with the decluttering checklist. So we'd love to hear about the progress you make as you go through this and hopefully declutter with ease and are able to let go of the items, knowing that the memories, histories, and stories are well preserved within Artifacts. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time on Evenings with Artifacts.